Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick with me? Famous scenes with drama queens and heroes acting out there on a silver screen. Come grab a seat, the popcorn is on me.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
So let me ask you something. If you were on a plane and it went down over the ocean and you survived, would you think, okay, it can't get any worse? If that is something that you think would happen, and if that's ever crossed your mind, let me tell you, there are some things far more dangerous than just surviving a plane crash on open water. Noel T. Manning II here. That's Thomas Manning, and I thought I'd give you a little tease for one of the films we're going to be talking about, Deep Water. Thomas, how are you, bud?
Yeah, well, if you ever have to ask the question, can it get any worse? I promise you, if you're in a position that requires you to ask that question, it can get worse somehow, some way, and it just might. About three and a half months ago, I was in a position where I was, staring at the sky, laying flat on my back. I thought, can this get any worse? Oh, believe me, it did when they put me through the X-ray machine and said, "Yep, it got a lot worse, buddy." So,
but fortunately, you are on the other side of that, or getting on the other side, really, really close,
and back on my feet again, like the babies once said. So.
So, for those that may not know what we're talking about, Thomas did. He broke a hip, but there's a technical name for what actually happened. Thomas knows it. I can't. I don't remember. I just know that I laughed.
It's a minimally displaced subcapital left femoral neck fracture, and they fixed it with some non-nutritive cereal varnish. So, yeah.
So for the common terms, he broke a hip at the ripe old age of 26. So we're glad you're back in action and getting better every day. And so happy to have you back on the show as well. It's been fun to have you back. Definitely. And Deep Water. Let's talk about this. So just because you do survive a plane crash, here's one of the lessons of life. Just because you survive a plane crash in the middle of the ocean does not mean that you are out of danger. Thomas, a few other lessons I want to make sure I share before we get moving. I'm paraphrasing, but there was something relating to detours can take you to life unexpected, and we shouldn't fear them. Also, you should never put a faulty phone cord attached to a phone and carry-on luggage. Those are some lessons I got out of this movie, Deep Water, that you and I just decided, hey, let's go check out this matinee disaster flick. And man, we got more than we expected for sure.
Yeah, and one more lesson I want to throw in there, don't smoke in non-smoking areas, especially, if you find yourself in the middle of the ocean surrounded by man-eating sharks. So,
there's a lot of lessons in this movie.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah, so, last week we talked about apex predators, which were humans. We talked about cannibals. Well, this week, the slightly less disturbing is not humans eating other humans, it's sharks eating humans. So a little bit more natural this week. But filmmaker Rennie Harlan, who is king of the 90s action movies, he directed Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, I think The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yes.
And he's still out here, 30 plus years since his heyday, still creating these just, fastball action movies that I will gladly spend for a Sunday matinee. That's his film, Deep Water. You got Aaron Eckhart, who is just always rock solid, whatever he's doing. And I think when you talk about movies that were made for dads, the dad movie subgenre out there, he is one of our kings of the dad movies. I think he's right there with Gerard Butler in that regard. So, but I know there's a lot we wanted to talk about with the action, and I think that starts here with the plane crash sequence that is the inciting incident. And I don't think I've ever seen just something this dynamic or this dynamic of a portrayal of a plane crash on screen before.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, I'll let you, jump into it.
Sure. So Thomas, you and I watched this movie. It was an open caption film. The screening we saw, we were the only two in the theater, and which allowed us to actually talk to each other. You know, we don't normally talk during movies, and I'd highly discourage it. But if you're the only people in it and you're, together, and if you choose to do that, that's okay. That's all right. And so when we were watching this plane crash happen, and so many different things were happening as the plane was going down, my eyes were wide open. I said, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this from a plane crash film. And I've seen a lot of films relating to plane crashes, but you and I both were just like in awe of what we were seeing. That was in the first, 30 minutes or so, 30 to 40 minutes. And we were like, wow, where are they going to take us from here? But I was completely blown away by what I was seeing. And again, I've seen a lot of special effects films. I've seen a lot of plane crash films, but nothing quite to this caliber. And I want more people to be able to see it.
And I think it really displays how when things are traveling at that speed and falling apart so quickly, that the tiniest thing can become the most deadly of projectiles, and just debris falling apart from the plane, but that same debris kind of like going in and out of the plane and causing even more issues. And yeah, like even if the movie had ended right there, I would have been like, okay, well, we just saw an experimental film about a plane crash, and I would have been fine just seeing that. But then that's only phase one in the survival for our characters, because they crash in the water, and that was another thing. This whole movie was just out of the frying pan and into the fire, because there's only a handful of survivors who are I think it was like maybe a couple dozen out of 250 that survived this crash. And then within that group of people, there are so many other things that can go wrong as they're just trying to figure out, this person over here is injured, needs help. This person over here is in this predicament, they need help, but we also got to look out for ourselves. And that's not even, we haven't even mentioned the sharks or really gotten into the sharks showing up yet.
Yeah. I mean, so you have the plane crash, and then you have those that are trapped in different pockets of this plane that had been broken apart into several pieces, and some are trapped underwater, but there's these air bubbles, so they're able to breathe, and they're having to figure out, how do I get out of this? And then you have others that are separated from loved ones. You have also another lesson is don't go into the bathroom and do things that you shouldn't be doing in bathrooms as a couple. Don't do that. That's
especially
another lesson.
in an airplane lavatory. Like,
right? Don't do that. Don't do that. And so when that happens, you pretty much know, if you're watching this, if you're watching a movie and that happens, it's not going to end well for those two. It's just
like
not.
what happened in like 70s and 80s slashers whenever a couple
right, exactly.
engages in certain activities. It's that same formula here.
Yeah, but there's a couple that does do that. The reason I'm mentioning that is a standout for me was the young actress who played the daughter, who was separated from her brother, but also from her parents, and she was absolutely amazing. That actress's name, Thomas?
Oh, that's Molly Bell Wright. I thought she was really a true standout, and the emotional anchor, no pun intended, for the story. And especially how Aaron Eckhart's character, who is the pilot or co-pilot along with Ben Kingsley, he kind of he's a father himself, and he's just trying to get home to his child. So he knows all too well that this child that is separated from her parents, what she's going through.
So Thomas, something that I really appreciated was this wasn't just let's see how bad things can get before they possibly get better. There were some characters that we got to know quite a bit about, so the character development was pretty solid, even those that we might look at as side characters in other films.
Yeah, and even characters that of course, in a survival thriller of this nature, you know everybody's not going to make it out alive, but you find yourself truly, genuinely hoping that they find a way to do so. And you start spending time with characters, and you are actually surprised when things don't go their way at the end of the day. Because I mean, and which is I think really hard to do in a film of this nature, where part of the entertainment is just seeing what gruesome ways or these people are going to experience their demise. But in order to give them something beyond just, you know, the paper cardboard cutout character, there are certain little moments that give them that certain edge that you don't always see in movies like this.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about the sharks, but there's the whole, I guess most of the third act is about the shark attacks, and there are multiple shark attacks. So this isn't just Jaws with one; it's a feeding frenzy for sure. And so for all those that did survive the plane crash, they've got a lot more to worry about with the sharks.
Yeah, and it's kind of how I feel every time I record this show. If we survive the opening, we survive takeoff, I'm like, there's something's going to go wrong somewhere along here. And so, yeah.
So, Thomas, this could have easily just been a standard operation procedural disaster flick. And we would have gone to see it. We would have enjoyed it. We would have known what it was. But this movie was more than that. I thought the editing was solid. I thought that the sound design, special effects, the directing, everything and character development, the casting, all of those things really clicked for me, Thomas. So for a film that I typically probably would have just given a C rating at this time of the year, one that's just kind of dropped out there for audiences, it was much more than that for me. And I will own this movie when it comes out on physical media, and you can guarantee that. And your mom is going to really love this movie when she gets a chance to see it.
Yeah, and also I think it doesn't alienate itself from its audience by just like making every single death terribly gruesome. Obviously there is some of that, like I mentioned, for the entertainment value. It is a slasher flick in some regards, but it doesn't venture into like, you know, torture porn territory where you're just like, I didn't need to see it. You didn't need to take it at this level. Because like we said, we do actually care for the outcomes of these characters, and hopefully that they can make it home alive to their families. So yeah, that's my mom is someone who, if it was just gross and nasty, that would definitely turn her away from it. But because it doesn't, it doesn't go quite to that territory, she'll be able to appreciate it.
All right, Thomas, any final thoughts or comments on the movie Deep Water that you can still find in select theaters and before you give a rating?
Yeah, well, just Ben Kingsley, he's still out here, 82 years of age, and he is game for just about any role you want to throw at him. He was fantastic in Wonder Man on Disney Plus earlier this year, the Marvel series, and in this, he makes the most of his limited screen time, and he's not going to phone it in. I mean, he's going to have fun, but he's still going to be there and just do his job every single time.
Awesome. And your rating for Deep Water?
Yeah, I'll give a B+ to Deep Water.
Yeah, right there with you. Solid B+. It's well worth your time if you are into disaster flicks and are looking for something that's a little different than what's out there. Well, Thomas, we're going to take a quick intermission. We had a lot of fun with that. We'll come back and a film that you said might even make your eyeballs sweat, Blue Heron, right after this quick intermission on Meet Me at the Movies.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hi, I'm Tim Foster, your host for Blue and Bold monthly right here on C19 TV. Get to know the coaches and student athletes of Cleveland Community College athletics on Blue and Bold. We go in depth as we discuss cross country, track and field, volleyball, baseball, men and women's basketball, and softball. Catch Bull and Bold airing on C19 TV and online at c19.tv.
Want to stay connected to everything happening at Cleveland Community College? C19's monthly show, In the Loop, brings you the stories, updates, and the highlights that matter most right from campus. From program spotlights and upcoming events to alumni interviews and college updates, In the Loop keeps you informed and engaged. Catch home game schedules for all CCC athletics, plus fun and meaningful conversations with the Yeti along the way. Whether you're a student, employee, alumni, or supporter of CCC, this is your inside look at life on campus. Tune in monthly on C19 and stay in the loop with Cleveland Community College.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hey there, welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. If you survived the break, you're better off than some of the people who didn't survive Deep Water, which we talked about in the first half of the show. Thomas, we're talking about another kind of creature, not a shark, but a blue heron. Let's get some thoughts on this film that you said may make your eyeballs sweat if your eyeballs are prone to sweating.
That's right, which mine usually are not, but if this film made me do so, then you know it's going to pack a punch. It is written and directed by Sophie Ramvari, and this is actually her feature film directorial debut. She's made quite a few shorts going back a decade or so, but this was, her first 90-minute feature, and this film is so many things. It uses the art of film as a method of bending time and bending space to confront traumatic memories and from traumatic family memories specifically, and to kind of peel back the curtain on those. And as we know from our own lives, memories are fragile, they're wispy, and they're fragmented. And then the way that we experience them and the way that we remember things, that changes over time as we go throughout our lives. And that is kind of the core of this film. It's also, this film is kind of a lament of how so often people in the world that we live in, people who are crying out for help, they are failed by the world. But it's also telling us not to despair and not to say that all is lost, and to not look at any person who is struggling or any person who is experiencing some sort of turmoil in their lives, and not look at them as just a two-dimensional figure, because there's complexity to all of us. And it's really the journey to understanding that complexity and trying to peel back those layers. That's what makes us human, and that's what, makes living life. I think that's really what living life is all about. And I want to mention the cinematography from the DP is Maya Bankovic. And this film was split into basically two distinct chapters. It's like right down the middle, the 45-minute mark, it transitions to like a 20-year period in the future. But in the first half of the film, there's this device where characters are always peering through something. They're peering through a window or a video camera. And then in the second half of the film, we often see characters through a mirror. So it's almost like they're looking back in time, or looking back at what they were peering through in the first half of the film. I was really struck by that. And then, two central performances that kind of hold the film down. It's two different versions of the same character. There is a child version and an adult version, playing a character named Sasha. And the young actress who plays her at like maybe 7 years of age, her name is Aylol Guven. And then Amy Zimmer plays her as an adult. And there's so many nuances in each performance that kind of fully complete it into one. And this is a movie that at the time we're recording this, I just watched it earlier today, and I think that the more that I uncover things about it, the more it's going to move me even more than it already has. And I think like we're recording this in May. This is a movie that's going to be on my year-end list as one of the best of the year, no doubt about it. Like when I think of movies in previous years that have kind of hitting me to this extent, I think of Pig with Nicolas Cage. I think of After Sun, the film that was directed by Charlotte Wells. I think you can kind of place this tonally within that same sphere. I'm honest. I was quite spellbound by Blue Heron.
Wow, yeah, you have to love it when a film surprises you like this and speaks to you in ways that were unexpected and finds a way to linger with you long after you've had a chance to see the credits roll. So, Blue Heron, and where and how can people check out this film, Thomas?
Yeah, Blue Heron is in theaters now, and I know it's playing at the Independent Picture House in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if we got any local viewers who want to make a trip out there and support our Charlotte's nonprofit theater, I'd recommend that. And so I'm going to give a solid A plus without a second thought to Blue Heron.
Wow, Blue Heron, A plus if you're looking for a film that will speak to you and that has incredible performances and some pretty interesting cinematography related devices. That may be one for you to check out. Well, Thomas, we have a few minutes. Do you want to talk about Mall, or do you want to do an autumn summer? What's your play, my friend?
Yeah, let me throw Autumn Summer out there. This is one that I've wanted to talk about for a couple weeks. This is another directorial debut that comes from a very personal place. This is written and directed by Jared Isaac, and you can find my extended discussion with him over on elementsofmadness.com. That was one of those interviews where you just, within the first 2 minutes of talking, you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get along very well. And so he's a Chicago guy himself. So I think I was actually doing the interview where you are right now. So he saw the Ferris Bueller license plate over my shoulder, and that conversation went in many different directions from there. But An Autumn Summer is basically, well, it's another memory film. It would make an interesting companion piece with Blue Heron. They're very different types of memories that they're reflecting on. But this is about him looking back at high school summers with his friends, and specifically through the lens of he had two friends who were a couple, and kind of they were high school sweethearts. It's about young love. It's a very honest and just very relatable look at young love. It's also a film that made me look forward to summer. I typically am a type of person who just despises everything about the summer, which when you're living in the North Carolina humidity, I think that's easier to do. And I will say this film takes place on the Great Lakes in Michigan. So that summer is one that I think I would want to spend a little bit more time in rather than down here when you walk outside and you're like sticky with whatever's in the air within 2 minutes. But yes, this, it's just it's definitely a slice of life, little drama. And, the chemistry between the two young loves, you have, Lukita Maxwell, who we know from Shrinking. She plays the daughter on Shrinking, which is a series that you and I both love. And then Mark McKenna, is the other half of that couple. And, they just brought that chemistry to life in a way that I think only the two of them could have. I think there's a quote from this film that I've been thinking about, and it's, you don't have to be anything other than exactly what you are. That's you've never told me that. You've always said you have to be what I want you to be as your father, and I make all your decisions.
You sit on a throne of lies. A throne of lies.
But then I watched this film and I was like, you know what? This is the advice I really could have used from my father.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. But okay, just to clear the air, my father, he's a great father. He's a great man wherever he is, and he's always encouraged me to be myself, which is what this film encourages as well. An Autumn Summer, I'm very glad that I got a chance to check out Autumn Summer and got to talk with Jared Isaac. And this film is in limited theaters right now and will also be available on digital and VOD in June as well.
So Thomas, another wonderful film, it sounds like, for our viewers to check out. And we've got just a couple minutes, but I want to give you 60 seconds to share anything that you, any insight you got from the filmmaker that you got a chance to chat with about this film.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the cinematography in Blue Heron, I'll also highlight the cinematography here. The DP here is Brandon Somerhalder, who's been on a variety of very notable projects, including an Oscar-winning short documentary that he shot a few years ago. And just the way that he frames this Michigan summer, is kind of, it'll just kind of like imprint, some of those images will just imprint on your brain. And there's also a very, starkly surreal shot in a film that is quite, naturalistic and organic. And for most of it, there's a very surreal shot that Jared talked about in our conversation that I'll send you over there to kind of see him take that apart. But what he mentioned was his philosophy for creating that shot was, where he might have had initially had some hesitancy. Do I really want to take it in this direction? He said, you just got to go for it. I just want to take that swing. I just want to, hit the home run here if I can. And if I strike out, then so what? But he didn't strike out. He did hit a home run for that shot. And I think with this movie, just in general as well.
Awesome. And your rating for An Autumn Summer?
And I'll give it a solid A- to An Autumn Summer.
All right. A-. Thomas, we appreciate your insights this week, as always. And in the coming weeks, we've got some pretty cool interviews lined up for Meet Me at the Movies. You want to mention just a couple of those, Thomas?
Yeah, there's a fella named Robert Odenkirk, also Wendell Pierce, and and we'll see who else we got coming on. You never know who might wander into the studios here at Meet Me at the Movies. Yeah,
and I just, we'll share with our audience, there is a lot of stuff out there for you to check out. And I think between theatrical releases, streaming services, and other services and options that are out there, there is plenty for you to watch and plenty of good and decent material. We've got Douglas Davidson lined up as well in another future episode. Got Douglas back to talk about an animated film that has, I guess you could say, the ghost of the Truman Show. And when he shared that, I was like, yeah, count me in for that. So we've got a lot of stuff happening on Meet Me at the Movies, and a lot of stuff out there for you to check out as well, whether it's TV or whether it's film. And we're just thankful that you're spending time with us on Meet Me at the Movies. You can always email us, info@c19.tv. We do appreciate Tim, as always, and we just encourage you to enjoy yourselves, and we invite you back next time on Meet Me at the Movies. Thomas Manning there. I'm Noel T. Manning II, and for this week, that is a wrap.
Many films to view until we meet again. Next time we see you, we'll gladly fill you in. We'll tell about the happy and the sad ones. We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.